A homeless father slept in his car with his 2-year-old son for 2 weeks straight. He drove around Los Angeles every morning with bottles of shampoo in the back seat, knocking on hair salons, asking strangers if they would buy just one bottle. 27 banks had already turned him down for a loan. Today, that man owns a hair care company that sells more than $1 billion of product every year. He sold his second company, a tequila brand, for $5.1 billion in 2018. His personal fortune is over $3 billion. His name is John Paul DeJoria. The way he came back from absolute nothing, not once but twice, has a name. People who study comeback stories call it the comeback system. It is not grit. It is not motivation. It is 3 specific rules in a specific order. Almost every great comeback story in modern business follows the same pattern. In the next 10 minutes, I will show you the 3 rules, the story of how DeJoria used them, and the one question you can ask yourself tonight that tells you if your own comeback is real or if it is just a story you are telling friends. Let me start with how bad it really was. DeJoria was born in 1944 in Los Angeles. His father walked out when he was 2 years old. His mother sold Christmas cards on the street to feed him and his brother. When DeJoria was 9, his mother sat the 2 boys down and told them she could not afford to keep them. She sent them to a foster home in East LA. By the time he was 10, he was selling Christmas cards on the same streets his mother had. By 11, he was in a gang. In the 4th grade, a teacher pulled him aside and told him he would never succeed at anything in his life. He never forgot that sentence. He joined the Navy at 17 just to get out of the city. After the Navy, he bounced from sales job to sales job. Encyclopedias, insurance, copier machines. He got fired from job after job. By the time he was 36 years old, he had nothing in the bank, a young son to support, and a recently failed marriage behind him. Then he made one decision. He decided he was going to start his own company. Not someday. Now. He had a friend, a hairdresser named Paul Mitchell, with a small line of professional hair products. The 2 of them spent months trying to raise money. 27 banks turned them down. DeJoria's mother gave him $700 in cash. That was the founding capital of Paul Mitchell Systems. He moved into his car with his 2-year-old son. Every morning, he packed cases of shampoo into the back seat and drove to whatever neighborhood he had not hit yet. He walked into salons one at a time. He asked stylists to buy just one bottle. Most of them said no. He kept walking. For 2 weeks, he and his son slept in that car. When he finally sold enough to afford a cheap motel room, they moved out of the car. He kept selling. One bottle, one salon, one no after another for years. Today, Paul Mitchell Systems sells more than $1 billion of professional hair care every single year. DeJoria went on to co-found Patrón Spirits with another partner in 1989. In 2018, Bacardi bought Patrón from him for $5.1 billion. DeJoria is now one of the only people in modern American history to have built 2 separate billion-dollar consumer brands from absolutely zero. Both times he started with nothing. Both times he used the exact same 3 rules. Those 3 rules are the comeback system. Now here's the part of comeback stories most people get completely wrong. A study published in 2019 by researchers at the Wharton School of Business tracked more than 400 entrepreneurs who had failed at a first business and tried again. They wanted to know what actually predicted whether the second attempt would work. They expected the answer to be intelligence, or industry experience, or how much money the founder raised the second time around. It was none of those things. The single biggest predictor of a successful second attempt was whether the founder asked customers to pay money for something within the first 30 days of starting. Not build a product, not build a website, not perfected the offering. Asked actual humans to hand over actual money for something the founder did not yet fully have ready. Founders who started selling in the first month succeeded at almost 3 times the rate of founders who built quietly for 6 months before they sold anything. Same intelligence, same education, same access to capital. The single behavioral difference was how quickly they got uncomfortable in front of strangers with their wallets out. This is the heart of the comeback system. It is not about being talented. It is about doing one specific thing most ambitious people refuse to do. Go ask strangers for money before you feel ready. Here are the 3 rules of the comeback system. In order, DeJoria has described them in his own interviews over the last 20 years. Rule 1. Sell first, build later. Most failed comebacks polish in private. They spend 6 months perfecting a product, a logo, a website. By the time they finally show it to the world, they have burned every dollar of savings and have not heard a single piece of real feedback from a real customer. DeJoria did the opposite. Paul Mitchell had 3 products when he started selling. Not a full line. 3 bottles. He drove from salon to salon and asked stylists if they would try 1 bottle that day. The product was not perfect. The brand was not famous. He sold anyway. Every objection a stylist gave him became a note on what to fix. Rule 2. Reinvest every dollar back into the next sale. For the first 3 years of Paul Mitchell, DeJoria took no salary. None. Every dollar that came in went straight back out. Into more shampoo bottles. Into gas to drive to more salons. Into the cheapest possible trade show booths. He drove the same beat-up car for years. He wore the same clothes. Most failed comebacks get their first $10,000 in revenue and immediately spend it on themselves. A nicer office, a small salary, a vacation that feels earned. DeJoria's rule was simple. Until the company is big enough that you can pull a salary without slowing it down, every single dollar belongs to the company, not to you. Rule 3. Treat every no as data, not as defeat. DeJoria has said in interviews that he heard the word no something like 50,000 times in his first year of Paul Mitchell. 50,000 times. Most ambitious people quit after no number 4 or 5. He tracked the no's. He looked for patterns in them. When salons said no because the bottle looked cheap, he changed the bottle. When they said no because the price seemed too high, he changed his pitch. When they said no because they did not trust a new brand, he handed them a free sample and let the actual customers decide. Every no was data. Every no taught him what to change for the next door. People who quit after 5 no's think they have a real signal. They do not. They have 5 data points. DeJoria had 50,000. So here's the single question that tells you whether your own comeback is real or fake. In the last 30 days, not the last year, not someday, the last 30 days, how many specific human beings have you actually asked to pay you money for the thing you are quietly trying to build? If the answer is under 50, you do not have a comeback in motion. You have a hobby. You are polishing in private and calling it preparation. If the answer is more than 100, you are inside the comeback system. Now what matters is how you respond to the no's that are about to come at you. DeJoria walked into more than 1,000 salons in his first 6 months. The vast majority of them said no. The handful that said yes built a billion-dollar company. You do not need 1,000 yes. You need 100 no's to learn from and the willingness to walk to door 101 anyway. If you're sitting on a comeback right now, a business, a career change, a relationship rebuild, a recovery from anything, pick Rule 1 and execute it this week. Make a list of 50 real people you can ask to pay you for some version of what you're trying to build. Then ask them, all 50, by Friday. The polishing can wait. The selling cannot. If this was useful, subscribe. Every day we go deeper on one more rule about how the world actually rewards people who do the uncomfortable thing first, not the talented people who do nothing. The next video is about a man who was fired from his own company at age 30. He spent the next 12 years lost in the wilderness, building things that almost nobody bought. Then he came back to the company that fired him and turned it into the most valuable business in human history. The mental move he used has a name, and it is the exact opposite of what most people do when they get rejected. Until then, sharper thinking, one model at a time.